Why Henry Cavill is the hottest superhero.
Each step close to the comic books and the world.
Do you feel like, can you tell that the energy is different?
Don't you think Henry Cavill is one of the hottest men in Hollywood? We would say the whole world, but since we are not the Guinness Book of Records, a lot of folks would argue with us. But take a look at him for a second. Check out his incredibly ripped body, his well-chiseled face, his infectious smile, his broad shoulders, and his strong arms. You can't deny that he looks like a well-sculpted work of art, the kind that belongs in an art exhibition. This guy right here is every lady's dream man. And for us, he is the hottest superhero of all time. Let's show you why. To play Superman, you would have to be hot. Like super hot. Not just the average-looking regular dude from across the street. You have to be delicious enough to have girls drooling on their screens while watching you. Like, why not? You are here to save the planet, and that might just include saving the ladies. Not only did Cavill deliver in his role as the Superman, he actually did look the part. He is built like a man who would be able to hold the planet with his 2 hands if it came crashing down. And you know what? Every lady loves to be rescued by a good-looking man, especially one with some muscles. Just imagine him descending from the sky with you in his arms. Magical. To show you just how stunning this man is, in 2013, Cavill was voted the world's sexiest man by British Glamour. That same year, he made it to Empire's list of the 100 sexiest movie stars, placing an impressive 3rd. In 2022, he defeated the likes of Stray Kids star Hyunjin, Timothée Chalamet, and Chris Hemsworth to take the prize as the most handsome man in the world. Well, from how stunning he looked in The Witcher and in Justice League, he just had to be the most handsome. Meanwhile, fans on Comic Vine also voted that Henry Cavill was hotter than Chris Evans, who played Marvel's Captain America. Well, Chris Evans is undoubtedly good-looking and quite sexy, so for fans to have chosen Henry over him means that Henry Cavill is definitely the hottest superhero to have graced the big screens. However, Henry Cavill wasn't always this sexy. Obviously, he already had the good looks and the eye-catching face when he featured in movies like The Immortals and The Tudors. Because, yeah, he was born with it. He was also a pretty decent actor who, at the time, wasn't this buff. But when he was cast to play the role of Superman, he knew that he had to put in the work. He had to look the part, and that involved building up his muscles until he looked like a Greek god. Because nobody wants to see a cute but skinny Superman looking like he could use some help. Superman is supposed to have the body of a Superman. In his previous role, where he played the ancient Greek hero Theseus in the movie Immortals, Cavill, who stands at 6 feet 1 inch, weighed 170 pounds. This means he wasn't big enough to play Superman and was required to bulk up. To do this, gym trainer Mark Twight was assigned to work with him. Right from the start, Twight made a non-negotiable agreement with Cavill, mandating that he get at least 10 hours of sleep daily. Guess Cavill needed to take his beauty sleep a little more seriously if he wanted to look incredible. Included in his daily workout routine were deadlifts, front and back squats, kettlebell swings, and a special diet to help him bulk up fast. Meanwhile, from the beginning of his training, Cavill made it clear that he wasn't trying to cheat the process. He wasn't going to use steroids and other enhancements to transform his body quickly. Instead, he was going to build his body the old-fashioned way. In an interview with US Today, he shared that he felt taking a shortcut by going on steroids or human growth hormones was not exactly what Superman represents. So ladies, your hot and sexy-looking Superman actually did earn the right to be called Superman. Before the commencement of filming, Cavill had moved from weighing only 170 pounds to about 200 to 205 pounds in just 6 months. The actor also boasted an impressive shoulder-to-waist ratio and chest size that made him look dashing. He initially increased his calorie count to 5,000 to 6,000 calories daily, but later he cut it down by half, moving to light supplements like multivitamins and essential fatty acids. His initial deadlift was less than 300 pounds, but he later achieved a record of 435. Even from the comics down to earlier movies, Superman always had broad shoulders.
The original Superman. No, it's not the original Superman. The original Superman was on TV in the 50s.
And for Cavill, the goal was to build a V-taper with broad shoulders and a very tight waist. This meant that Cavill had to do a whole lot of cardio. He often performed a 20-minute fasted cardio session at a heart rate of 125 to 135 beats per minute to burn the excess body fat. Recall that in the earlier phase of his training, he was required to consume a lot of calories, and that meant that he added a whole lot of weight. In fact, He reportedly put on more than 20 pounds. But since he wasn't cast to play the role of a sumo wrestler, he had to put the extra calories to good use in the gym. If he didn't, the last son of Krypton would have been looking like Fat Man rather than Superman. Interestingly, Henry was nicknamed Fat Cavill due to the weight he added in such a short period of time. A behind-the-scenes video from flashback filmmaking revealed that Cavill would often do pull-ups and lift weights between takes, sometimes even in his costume. The goal, and probably the hardest part of it all, was to keep Henry at the same fitness level, looking ripped and sexy all through the 120-day filming period. This could have easily been achieved by hiding his physique under the costume all through. Well, the Superman costume is designed to make the wearer look buff and muscular, but director Zack Snyder was bent on making his version of Superman muscular.
What's the suit gonna look like? And especially a modern one. What's the S gonna look like?
Right from the start. He didn't just want his Superman to give off the impression that he was well-built. He actually wanted him to be well-built. And to flaunt Cavill's perfect build, he added a few shirtless scenes so the ladies can see the incredible specimen of a man that shoots flames from his eyes. So Cavill doesn't just look buff in costume, but he also looks really hot as Clark Kent, and Zack Snyder made it a point of duty to show us. However, featuring Cavill in shirtless scenes was going to be a bit tricky. Snyder planned to shoot 2 such scenes over 3 weeks, and Cavill was required to achieve and also maintain the peak form of his upper body for these 3 weeks. And the good news is, the Man of Steel was equal to the task. He was dedicated to delivering a killer performance, both in his acting and his physique, and Henry Cavill exceeded all expectations. Meanwhile, to make his hand-to-hand combat seem more natural, Cavill sparred with his gym trainer. In an interview with Shortlist, Cavill admitted that his training was excruciating, but that he'd also broken through boundaries he didn't know were possible.
To be in awesome shape.
Yeah, for the movie, but generally sort of off movies, I tend to be off season, and
In all, his workout for Man of Steel was the most demanding, as he was basically starting from scratch. Even though he still looked shredded in Dawn of Justice, Justice League, and in Netflix's The Witcher, the body transformation in the build-up to Man of Steel is the significant. His work with Mark Twight transformed him to the eye candy he is today.
Who understands what I'm going through physically, which I think is what makes him such a good trainer.
But how does Henry Cavill compare to previous live-action Superman actors before him? For most critics compared to others, Cavill had a physique that more closely matched the comics. His physical transformation and bulked-up body mass is better than that of other live-action Superman actors like Brandon Routh, who featured in Superman Returns, and Christopher Reeve. Routh's version was noticeably leaner in physique than the others. Cavill is without a doubt the bulkiest on-screen version of Superman, and we absolutely loved it. Cavill's shoulder-to-waist ratio and impressive size of his chest makes him the strongest-looking Superman. And thankfully, director Zack Snyder ensured that we got to see it a few times. But what do you think? We would love to hear from you. Do you think Henry Cavill is the hottest superhero ever? Let us know. Also, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. See you soon.